The rumor that started as a whisper just over a week ago became truth on Tuesday, with Cristiano Ronaldo confirming he is on his way to Italy to join Juventus. The deal, worth a $117 million U.S., will pay the Portuguese $140 million U.S. over 4 years, and it brings to a close a 9-year spell in Spain that is one of the most successful of any player in the modern era. Real Madrid first off the mark Tuesday by announcing the deal had been finalized. Juve president Andrea Agnelli was photographed hopping a plane to Greece Tuesday, sending speculation through the roof. Shortly after meeting with the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, Real announced the deal and explicitly stated, interestingly, the transfer was being made at the player's request.
An exit.
Great stuff from our Gabriel Amato. Cristiano Ronaldo has scored more goals against Juventus than against any other team in European competition. 10. No wonder they wanted him. He had 2 that knocked them out of the Champions League this season. Phil, is Cristiano Ronaldo the missing piece for Juve when it comes to winning a Champions League title?
If not, they need a whole new puzzle, because it looks like he fits perfectly into the one that they have right now. You have Paulo Dybala, who could be the guy that can float around him. You have Mario Mandzukic, who could be the guy that can slide in and out with him. It opens the entire right flank for Cuadrado. I really take a look at this and say, this is his opportunity to add yet another book, let alone another chapter to what he has done. And in some ways, it's a bookend. Zinedine Zidane's move from Juventus to Real Madrid kind of ended Serie A's reign as the best league in the world and handed that mantle over to Spain. Cristiano Ronaldo has a chance to turn that around now, because he won't be the last that Italy will get.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So, Gary, for you, why is this not the right move for Ronaldo?
Kev, it's not a bad move, but the right move for me, and take away all my Man United connections, is to go back there.
Stop.
And I'll tell you why,
Gary.
Kev. He has loved there. He has loved beyond measure, and he's 33 years of age. And he doesn't need to prove anything. So go back there, go and play. He loves getting a response from the crowd. Even as he gets older and his performance goes down, they will still treat him like a king. He goes to Juve, he's got to prove himself game in and game out. And on top of that, he's got to play in tiny little stadiums like Crotone and Cagliari of 13,000, whereas in the EPL...
Eibar.
Have you been to Bournemouth?
Levante.
Well, Bournemouth aside, even if you go to Crystal Palace, you'll still get 30,000. And there's plenty of big clubs in the EPL, and it's good for his image rights, his sponsors, etc. So I would love to have seen him back at United, and I think he will regret not going back there.
You try telling Cristiano Ronaldo that he's nothing to prove. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, the sheer marketing chaos a move like this creates is unbelievable. Just look at the differences in social media followings between Ronaldo and his new team. But how does this affect La Liga as a whole? Our Jamie Easton has more on that. And Jamie, has the shock of the move worn off yet?
Everybody in Madrid, Jeremy, is asking themselves the same question. And what happens next? What happens now? Because if you was speaking to a Madridista just a few months ago after winning their 4th Champions League in 5 years, and you told them in the 90th minute, well, Zidane will leave and then Cristiano Ronaldo will leave, they wouldn't just believe it. And that's what happens in the White House this summer. Cristiano Ronaldo, after 9 years at Real Madrid, after winning 4 Ballon d'Ors while wearing the white t-shirt, 4 Champions League, he says goodbye. He's probably, if not the best, one of the best players Real Madrid has ever had. Some people in Madrid asking again, why doesn't the club give him the homage he deserves while he was leaving? For example, was sort of homage that Iniesta had at Barcelona. Why Real Madrid cannot do that with a superstar like Cristiano Ronaldo? Why only make an official statement thanking him for everything he has given to the club? A new era starts for Ronaldo, and a new era starts for Real Madrid as well, and the question is, who will they sign that can replace Cristiano Ronaldo if he is replaceable at all? But we want to know as well the reaction in Italy, and we have our very own Tancredi Palmeri to explain us how in Italy they are living the signing of a star, of Cristiano Ronaldo.
The 117 million euros that has cost the transfer of Cristiano Ronaldo, as per the statement of Juventus in the early evening, maybe could turn into the best spent money by Andrea Agnelli, the Juve president. It is already the 6th most expensive transfer in the history of football, iconically kicking out of the top 10 the Gonzalo Higuain one. Why iconically? Because when 2 years ago Juventus broke the bank and did something completely unusual for them by signing someone so expensive like Higuain, obviously the clear target of Andrea Agnelli was to be able again to lift the Champions League, as his uncle Gianni did in 1985, as his dad, especially Umberto, did in 1996. The Champions League is the obsession, and now not only Juventus are among the main protagonists, but they did so by taking away from the strongest, most dominant team, the strongest, most dominant player. So they weakened the best opponent and they strengthen obviously themselves. What is changing this for Serie A? A lot, because honestly, a team that have won 7 years in a row now obviously are by far the most favorite for the record 8th title. Although if we look in the league, for example in Spain, Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't that compelled by the challenge as in Champions League, at bringing back the Champions League to Turin would be the huge challenge. But the Serie A got to profit from this, because now everybody look at Serie A as a place where to go and flourish, exactly as it happened until 20 years ago, when the trend was reverted by Zidane leaving Juventus, going to Real Madrid, Ronaldo leaving Inter, going to Real Madrid. Now Serie A going back, looking in the eyes all the others, Spanish and English league. Back to you, Kevin.
Love it. Thank you very much, Tancredi and Jamie. Lots more to come.
Shortly after Real Madrid's release announcing the transfer, Cristiano released an emotional letter to the club's fans, thanking them for their support and asking for their understanding. He says it's time for a new challenge, but the shirt, the shield, and the Santiago Bernabeu will always feel like home. Here's more on Cristiano's numbers at Real Madrid.
Yo soy una persona muy confiante. Como digo siempre, los números no engañan. Los números hablan por sí mismos.
We score every year 50, 60 goals, something that 10 years ago, it was you couldn't even imagine.
Cristiano Ronaldo, the phenomenal success story at Real Madrid. No doubt the second half of his Real Madrid stint far more successful than the first 4 Champions League crowns in 5 seasons. So where does he rank then among the all-time greats at Real Madrid? We did up a little list earlier on. These are some of the challengers. Obviously, Alfredo Di Stefano would be in there. Hugo Sanchez, a legend at the Bernabeu. Raúl, Iker Casillas and the great Zinedine Zidane, both as a player and a manager. Gary Bailey, where does CR7 rank?
Without a doubt in my mind, way above every single one of them. His numbers are phenomenal in every sense. 450 goals is more than Raúl, more than Di Stefano, and it's more than one a game, which is incredible.
It's
in any strike.
120 goals more than Raúl, by the way.
I know, it's phenomenal. More trophies than any of the others. More Ballon d'Ors. He's got 5. Di Stefano's only got 2. So, I mean, there's no one who's won more recognition in terms of world football. He's got 5 European Champions League. None of those players except Di Stefano come even close. Di Stefano's got 5 as well. So in this current era, playing at 33 years of age, I think he is a phenomenon second to none. Only Messi can come close to challenging him.
Phil Shane, you're the lead voice for La Liga coverage here on beIN Sports. So you agree with Gary, correct?
I don't want to diminish this. I'm not saying this is just because he has Manchester United on the resume either. But when you take a look at Real Madrid, this is the club in the history of the game. So there are so many players, even so many that we didn't even mention there. And in my mind, you take a look at someone that was homegrown, someone like a Raúl, would probably be up there challenging Cristiano Ronaldo just because he is Real Madrid. but I still think Cristiano probably edges him out because just of the overwhelming statistics. But Alfredo Di Stefano epitomized the modern game. From 1956, 1960, won every single Champions League or the European title, scored in every single one of them. Sir Stanley Matthews kind of got the Lifetime Achievement Award for the first Ballon d'Or. Then they did it right and gave it to Di Stefano the next year. We're talking about a guy who changed the game in his era. So did Cristiano, but it wasn't all with Real Madrid.
Wow, so Phil always the party pooper over here.
I'm still celebrating. You know what I'm celebrating? Is now we get a chance to see Juventus back on the world stage.
You know what, and every summer there's always one major deal that kicks things off in the transfer window. This summer it is this deal. So the question is, what now? What other dominoes are about to fall? Gary and Phil, you guys, you keep an eye on the transfer market like the rest of us do. Gary, let's start with the obvious. There is not room for everyone at Juventus. Early predictions have a couple players possibly on the move. What do you see happening?
Well, if Higuain leaves, which, as you say, looks likely, Chelsea would be a great option. They need a regular goal scorer. In the year in which they won the title, Diego Costa got them 20 goals. Higuain got 16 last year, and that's his worst for 3 years. So he can be the goal scorer that Chelsea fans are dreaming of.
And Maurizio Sarri looks like he's going to come in at Chelsea as well. So Higuain scored his 36 goals, his Capo Carnieri winning season with Maurizio Sarri there. We're expecting, whenever the mess at Chelsea gets figured out, that Sarri is in, Conte's out.
But doesn't that mean like Morata has to move?
Well, that's the next question. That's the next question.
I know how this
what happens with Alvaro Morata? Does he stay in?
Well, the initial thought was the fact it was going to be a straight swap, that he would end up going back to Juventus. That road might be blocked now, and there are rumors that are moved to Bayern Munich. And Robert Lewandowski may be the next domino.
Well, and that's the whole thing, too, with Lewandowski. I mean, they've said that the Bayern has come out and said Lewandowski's not on the move, but as we all know, I mean, the contracts aren't necessarily worth the paper that they're written on, and money talks. There is that matter of that $117 million hole now burning a hole in Real Madrid's pocket. You know Florentino Perez is not going to let that money sit for very long. Madrid have a number 9, but there's a pretty good one, Gary, who might be about to win the World Cup. Do you think they splash the cash?
Absolutely. With Harry Kane, they've got to. Whether he wins the World Cup or not, I'm pretty sure he'll win the Golden Boot because he's sitting top at the moment in terms of goals scored. And Real Madrid need big-time players, players who are big names, who can knock off goals. 30 goals again for Spurs. Now, all due respect to Spurs, it's not a Real Madrid. They don't get the same service. If you can score 30 goals season after season, and what is Harry now, 25 years of age? 24.
Yeah. Lewandowski's close to 30.
Exactly. So for Real Madrid, it's a player with a wonderful future, great goal scoring. Benzema leaves almost certain now that Ronaldo leaves, so you need that number 9. And I can't think of many number 9s. Take away Lewandowski. I can't think of many others who are fantastic regular goal scorers.
And you know the other thing I'd add to that as well with Harry Kane? Harry Kane, he's a markable, good-looking guy, representing, but he's a class act. He's a good guy.
Wait, did you just describe Gareth Bale?
Oh,
I'm going to bring up a couple of French dominoes, which were mentioned before. Mbappe, but I don't see PSG letting him go, because in many ways the fact he is Parisian makes him arguably more valuable even than Neymar. Florentino Perez likes to go out and buy the flashy player, and there's no Zinedine Zidane to tell him no anymore.
Also, who's Mbappe's agent?
Yeah, exactly.
Ronaldo's agent.
Same
So you're saying it's Mbappe they go for?
I think Mbappe might be a better fit, but you know what?
Signing that would be.
Harry Kane would be a huge one too.
But you need Mbappe wide to go with Harry Kane.
Get them both.
And Gareth
Splash
Bale.
the billion.
Yeah,
Splash the big money. Splash the big money. All right, one of the most decorated footballers in history shared the pitch with a young Ronaldo over at Manchester United, and Paul Scholes recently sat down and discussed the Portuguese's move to Italy exclusively with beIN Sports.
It was a big surprise, yeah. Why he would want to leave Madrid, I don't know. Whether he's being forced out, I'm not too sure what the situation is there. But it's a big challenge for him, and you know he's got a chance now to conquer Italian football. You know he's gone from from Spain. He was brilliant in England, amazing wherever he's been. Can he now go on at his age? I'm sure he can. He's a fit lad, he looks after himself, he wants to do well, he wants to score 40, 50 goals in Juventus. I think he said himself he wants to play till he's 40. And you just look at him as a specimen, isn't he? He's a fit lad, he looks after himself, he's so dedicated. I think people will talk about this maybe even being his last World Cup as well. I don't think so. I think he'll make the next World Cup. He may have to change his style, but every player has to do that. I think Juve will be probably trying to buy him just as an out-and-out centre forward. Dedication to it all, really. As a young lad coming over when he was 17, he was such a skinny lad, wasn't really developed into his body, and then you've seen the change after one, probably 2 seasons. You've seen the development in him and his dedication to do it. He was the first one on the training field, the last one home. He was in the gym, he was getting himself ready. He knew he had to be physically right in England, and he was such an example to set to young players as well, which was great for the young players coming through. And it was great for us older players to watch as well, actually. You had to have words with him now and again with his theatrics and all that kind of stuff, and try to take the mickey out of everyone, defenders, but to play was special. I wish he'd stayed for another 4 or 5 years. It would have made our jobs a lot easier.
I love hearing that from the legend Paul Scholes. I love that story with the Man United players convincing Sir Alex Ferguson to go after this young spaghetti-haired player called Cristiano Ronaldo. We're now finished talking about CR7 here on the X. It is time to get your questions. We love doing this each and every day. We've got some gems from you a little bit earlier on, Jeremy.
Yeah, we start with the good old Francesco. He's always good for a question when we put out that call for questions. How many goals does Cristiano score at Juventus, Gary?
I'm on the fence with this because I'm still upset he hasn't gone to Man United. But I'm going to say this. I think he will set a record. I just think he is so good. He's still super fit. He's in a fantastic team who know about winning. When you're playing away against Crotone and some of those teams, Spal, I think he'll get a hatful. I'm saying he breaks 40 goals for the first time.
40.
40.
But you know what?
How long?
Only once in the last 58 years has anyone broken 30.
Yeah, but how many of them have been Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah. I mean, this is
we'll
a player.
find out. But Miroslav Klose did say, by the way, that when he went to Italy, it was easier for him because it's a thinking defense, not a physical defense.
Yes or no, Phil?
CR's going to have a chance to turn.
Does he break Higuain's 36-goal record?
Yes.
This is a player. This is a player who only once in the last 5 years has averaged less than a goal a game in all competitions.
All right, I say he does break it. All right, next question that's come in. What is Real Madrid's next move post CR7?
And again, Mbappe is the one I think that they want, but they also don't like to be rejected, so that might be under the radar for a while. Would not be surprised to see a move for Neymar in the next 2 years. But Harry Kane seems to be one. The problem is he just signed a new 6-year contract.
Money talks. How about this? Harry Kane, and even though he's signed a new contract, Antoine Griezmann, I think they can get him. Because they won't get Mbappe from PSG, but from Atletico Madrid.
They don't need Griezmann. They've got Asensio, they've got Isco. What do they need Griezmann for?
Griezmann's world class, and that pace. No one's got that pace except Bale.
We have got to go. We've got to take a quick commercial break.
Sure, on BN Sports, we're talking all about Cristiano Ronaldo. We're also going to get to some World Cup stuff too. But fans of both Real Madrid and Barcelona have been transfixed for the past 9 years by the rivalry between Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Phil, what happens now?
Well, we were just talking about this during the break, and I think it moves it from the front pages to the history books. The way Champions League draws have gone, they probably will cross paths, but it won't be the way it was with Real and Barca. But I do think in some ways it allows Cristiano Ronaldo a chance to leap over Messi if he can lift Juve back to the top of the heap.
Now, what about an alternative matchup, which will be Messi versus whoever Real Madrid buys? So if it's Mbappe, it's Messi versus Mbappe, or Neymar, or Harry Kane. We have a whole new rivalry in La Liga.
Or if you get your way, it could be Messi against Griezmann. There's nothing sexy about that whatsoever.
And the two teams are set to face each other August 4th, by the way, in the International Champions Cup. Real Madrid versus Juventus in Washington, D.C. So Cristiano's going to get a chance to face his former team right away. Possibly. Yeah. Possibly.
How does it affect La Liga as a whole and the brand of La Liga here, Phil?
Well, in some ways, I don't think it's just the Ronaldo move, but it's the fact that Neymar moved last year. And when Neymar came in, it was not just for Barcelona to have a backup to Messi, it was also the next superstar for La Liga. But he's moved on. As you talked about Griezmann, though, there are new ones that are bubbling up. But I think from a Real Madrid perspective, they do need to go out and shop. Florentino Perez, though, has the money to pay.
I'm just wondering if Spain's losing a little bit of its luster, especially with what's happened in the World Cup, because if they go out to Liverpool and try and buy Mo Salah, Liverpool probably say not selling. They go to PSG and try and buy Mbappe, not selling. They might not have the power or the attraction they used to have 3-4 years ago. So I hope I'm not right, but we'll see in this transfer window what happens.
But hang on a second. PSG may have to sell.
Well,
some of the reports that we're hearing are true.
They only had the $60 million immediately, and they've already taken care of part of that with Pastore, and they'll easily finish the rest with it's Di Maria or whoever ends up moving on. Let's see what happens once the Mbappe move moves fully onto the book. But we'll see. I have a feeling that they have very good lawyers and very good accountants.
I feel like part of the attraction as well for a young player, if you're a Kylian Mbappe and you're trying to get him to Real Madrid, we all saw, and go check it out, folks at home, if you have not seen the images of a young Kylian Mbappe in his bedroom with Cristiano Ronaldo on the wall.
So he's going to Juventus.
You take Ronaldo away from Real Madrid, and how much of the allure of Los Blancos is gone?
There's some identity loss there.
We were talking about this last year. In effect, I think that was when Real Madrid should have struck before he ended up making that loan move to Monaco. I think they thought they had a little bit more time, one more window. It didn't work out that way. From a Serie A perspective, and I mentioned it earlier in the program, this will be very interesting. In some ways, it was like the Beckham move to Major League Soccer. This is an opportunity for Serie A to become relevant again. But the other teams need to buy.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if this is also a very vulnerable time for Real Madrid, because no question Barcelona is still a fantastic team with brilliant players in all positions, and they've already won the double. And now you're taking Cristiano away. If Real Madrid do not build
taking
properly,
Zidane away too.
Zidane away as well, yeah. Yep. If they do not rebuild properly under Lopetegui, they could find themselves tumbling down this league table.
Okay, it is time for us to take one more break here on it.
You're very welcome back into the Extra Rush. And the whole Messi-Ronaldo thing, it usually causes a split right down the middle of whatever camp you're in. But not for our Ray Hudson, who's got equal affection for both Messi and Ronaldo. So now a chance to hear from Ray about CR7's move to Juventus.
The signing of this man, Cristiano Ronaldo, to the great Juve from the even greater Real Madrid, one of the greatest signings in football history, for all the right reasons. It's perfect timing for Cristiano. It's perfect timing for Juventus. It's perfect timing for Real Madrid. And it's crazy money. Cristiano is going to benefit from it absolutely tremendously. His wages go through the ceiling. Juve's stock goes through the roof. And Real Madrid have a chance of getting over close to 100 million to rebuild from a 33-year-old player. But it's a 33-year-old in a different way. The biological clock of this brilliant genius would always defied Mother Nature and Father Time. And he will produce the goods for Juve. Now Juve become instantly the favourite for the Champions League, the big one which they want. Maybe this is what Juve need. Maybe it's what Cristiano needs. And I love his bravery. Just like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he wasn't content. He wants bigger pastures. He wants bigger challenges. Well, he's got them now. Everybody expects the Zebras to be magnificent next year. And with this man leading the line, I hope and I believe that they will. So well done, Zebras. Well done, Juventus. And now the challenge shifts to the White House of Real Madrid. How are you going to replace this guy? You cannot. No matter who you get, there'll only ever be one Cristiano Ronaldo.